Otito dịrị Jesu. Ihe anyị na-eme ebe a tata nke ụzọ bụ nke mbụ bụ n'ọgada ahụ iri Mario Institute of Hospitality Management and Entrepreneurship Education bidoro. And to mark those 10 years, having brought the Institute to a certain stability, the founder and the board of governors, board of directors want to formally hand it over to Onye Bidonye, the Catholic Diocese of Nsukka. That's one. The second one about the matriculation of the new students. And in the program, there is supposed to be an address by the bishop. That address, I want to divide into two. The one concerning the 10th anniversary, brief one, I'll make now. The one of the matriculation, I can make it later, tailoring it specifically to students. But what I want to say about this institute in terms of remembering and marking its 10th anniversary is that of gratitude to God. We thank God who inspired these thoughts in Father Cornelius Obe, who is known for having a passion for young people, their creativity, and making that creativity useful to them. When he was the personal secretary to the emeritus bishop, he tried his hands in many things in order to make young people useful to themselves. All of us has talents, but very often those talents are not invested and are not directed properly. And we complain and complain, but Father Obe, rather than complain, decides usually to do something, no matter how little. So we thank God for that inspiration, and we thank Him also for sustaining this actualization of the inspiration that in itself has been very trying, very difficult, so many challenges. For a very long time, it was just provisional in one place or another, being housed in very provisional environments, until through the graciousness of Ugunowere people, they got this piece of land, not big enough for what we desire, but at least somewhere to start. As Ugunowere, ala anunyere anyị na-ekele unu na nụnụ mara na ozulegi ihe anyị bụ n'uche. And as I said at the beginning of Mass, I also thank and congratulate Bishop Okubo, Francis Ubonye Okubo, who believed in this dream and sustained it. One is that his personal secretary had to share his time between his primary responsibility and his pet's dream. And without stopping him or limiting him too much, he was able to guide him to take this institute or this dream to the level where it is now. Every big idea or project starts always like a small thing, just like the parable of the mustard seed that we listened to 2 days ago. And also, revolutionary ideas take root in one person before it then becomes shared by different people. And one of the difficulties when we have this type of ideas is when it is born in the mind or the heart, especially, of a Catholic priest. Upon a father idea, this boy, there is some difficulty there. Because the family will go away. The priest had promised obedience to a bishop and to his successors. And whatever he wants to realize in the church, he must, by law and by protocol, obtain the clear permission and direction of his bishop. And it is not always that the bishop understands this. And very often he may say no, and the idea may die. And some, when the bishop says no, the idea really dies. But some, when the bishop says no, they continue to persevere and to pray and to represent the idea until the bishop accepts. At other times, the bishop may say yes. And the temptation also may be that when the bishop says yes, the priest may think that he has got a certificate to pursue a personal program, personal project, personal enterprise in his own terms. And it usually happens that before you know it, what began as a beautiful idea within the church becomes a parallel church inside the church. And that is how today you have many priests who have personal businesses, even though they know it is against the law, personal ministries, even though they know it is a contradiction in terms, personal schools, even though they know it is wrong, because anything a priest owns in his diocese or religious congregation that is Catholic is under the ownership and supervision of his diocese or religious congregation. Just yesterday, or a few days ago, the Supreme Court of the Vatican, of the Church, struck out the appeal of an Indian nun sister who, while in her congregation, was running a school, established an empire in her congregation, and her congregation told her she was going contrary to her vow of poverty and her vow of obedience. But she disobeyed, and she was dismissed from the congregation. She appealed to the church, and the church struck out the appeal. She went to the Supreme Court of the church. The Supreme Court of the church struck out her appeal 2 days ago, and she said she will challenge the Catholic Church in the civil court. That is when Satan takes possession of your talent and begins to water it with pride, wealth, arrogance, and disobedience. And it is a big temptation for every priest, for every religious, for every bishop who does not know that whatever you are in the church, primarily the church owns you. A Catholic bishop in Nigeria, Bishop Emmanuel Balejo of Oyo Diocese, once said that he entered into an argument with a Pentecostal bishop in an airport. And after a long argument, and the bishop wanted to tell him, just as you were called, so I was called. They couldn't get anywhere in the argument, and the bishop told him, now there is one difference. Let me tell you one difference between you and me. He told him, Bishop, you own your church. And that bishop said, yes. And Bishop Balejo told him, my church owns me. That is the difference. I want, while thanking and congratulating Ube, to encourage and thank other priests and religious who have wonderful ideas. Such ideas will not begin in the presbyterium collective now, or in the congregation collective now. They begin in individuals. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to pursue such dreams. Don't be afraid to develop them. But always keep in mind that once you begin to run that project or that dream as a parallel institution to the diocese of the religious congregation, both you and that institution will die miserably. The rule is without exception. Because if you are a sister, religious brother, a reverend father in the Catholic Church, you have no official offspring that will inherit your property. And once you die, whatever was attributed to you that was not owned by your diocese or congregation becomes an object of controversy and fight. The rule again is without exception. That is how we will realize the miracle that is happening here. It has not been easy, and I'm aware. The last temptation was when the wind blew the main structure that was standing here down, even constituting a threat to the students. But Father Obey did not give up with those supporting him until today. JAMB sends students to this place. It is no longer a private institution recognized by the federal government of Nigeria. And whether you know it or not, whether you regard it as a prophecy or as a plan, this could become one day the campus of a university. And when it began, it looked like a private enterprise of Father Obey. Think of all the private enterprises of some priests and religious where they have ended. Well, some may have been lucky and carried them to heights. But ask what happens when such people die. Whatever else I will say to the students and the matriculating students will be when we come back. But as we thank God for this miracle, remember that any healthy seed planted on a healthy soil will eventually bear fruit. And all those who have contributed anything in any way to the survival of this institute may not know exactly what they have done. Because when the Lord will say, "Come, you favored of my Father, and receive the reward that is prepared for you before the foundation of the earth, for I didn't know what to do with my talent until you helped me get some education in Mario Institute." You will say that, or you helped me direct my talent and develop it. And you say, "Well, Lord, when did we do this?" He said, "While you were doing it at Mario Institute, you were doing it for me." So we thank God and congratulate all of you and encourage all of us. Each one of us always has the possibility of contributing something, no matter how small, to make the situation better, and especially to make our young people more useful to themselves. God bless you.